Welcome to World of Tanks, Commander. Here you'll find the battlefields are brutal and your opponents relentless and unforgiving. It takes each commander a strong grasp of tactics to survive. Tactics like tracking enemies for teammates to finish them off, distraction and flanking maneuvers, coordinating with your platoon, focusing your fire, and group rushing. In World of Tanks, it's always tactics that win the battles. I'm Mobius Y, just another tanker like you, and I'm here to help. This is the Tactics Talk. Hey everyone, welcome back here. It's Mobius Y. Thanks for joining me for the long overdue 4th Tactics Talk. So this one here is a lot simpler than things that you can apply in-game. And it's merely how you can effectively earn decent amounts of XP. So what exactly constitutes how much XP you earn? Well, there's a lot of factors involved. Everybody knows that spotting enemies, damaging enemies, tracking enemies, blah blah blah, that all earns XP. And obviously winning and getting your first victory for a ×2 multiplier gives you a good XP haul. But what actually determines those specific values? Well, there's a really good breakdown on the forums that were posted quite some time ago, and I don't think a lot of people really got a good look at it. So this chart was posted by Lady Obscura, one of the mods on the forums, and it simply reads, "The following info has been confirmed as accurate for World of Tanks Xbox 360 Edition. Hope it helps provide some insight." Essentially what it is it's a chart showing a breakdown of exactly how experience is allocated to a certain player depending on their performance. There's a lot of instances where people will ask, I did more damage than this guy, how did he get more XP than me? Well, it could be a number of things. He could have had more detections than you, could have been damaging higher tier tanks while you were damaging lower tier tanks, could have been he was spotting his own tanks while you were shooting tanks that were spotted for you by somebody else. It could be a number of things. So this chart will break that down really nicely for us. So starting off in the left column, it's basically just what you did. That's what the action means. What kind of event occurred that earned you experience. The center column tells you how the XP is awarded, and the right column tells you how any extra silver is awarded. So the very first one here it shows, when you first join a battle, you're not awarded any experience for it, but you're given a fixed amount of silver scaling with the tank tier. So essentially that means any tank at the same tier gets a specific fixed amount of silver when it joins a game. And that's the same for any tank at that same tier. Now, spawning an enemy tank for the first time. This can be indicated when those little binocular icon shows up over the enemy tank, and it says in your recent action plan, detected so-and-so. For the XP awarded, it gives you a small flat bonus per detected tank. And this XP bonus is actually multiplied by 2.5 times for each detected SPG, which is artillery. Bonus silver is also awarded. You get a small flat bonus for each detected tank and double the amount for a detected SPG. So what this means is for every detected tank you get a small flat bonus in XP and silver, but for detected artillery you get 2.5 times the XP you would on any other tank, and double the silver that you would for spotting out any other tank. Next on the list, damaging enemies that are not lit up at all. Basically unspotted enemies. Is there extra XP awarded? Is there extra silver awarded? And it says in both columns, all damage counts, whether caused by direct hits, splash damage, ramming, fire, or ammo rack explosion. So that's basically saying that even if you're blind firing and damaging a tank, you are still earning extra experience and silver, and that gets allocated to you at the end of the game. So if you inflict critical damage to a module or crew member, is there any XP awarded? And now it breaks it down. It means this specifically means destroying an enemy tank's module, not only damaging it or killing a crew member. You get a small experience bonus depending on the tier of the target compared to yours, whether caused by direct hits, splash damage, ramming, fire, or ammo rack explosion. Light tanks receive a bonus for critical damage inflicted to heavy tanks. So two things there. You get a small bonus if you critically damage a tank that is a higher tier than you, and this includes simply tracking it, hitting their ammo rack, knocking out a commander, whatever. And light tanks receive a bonus for critical damage inflicted to heavy tanks. Now, does this earn you extra silver? No, it does not. It does earn you extra experience. So, next on the list, the killing shot on a tank. It awards you a small bonus modified by the tier of the killed enemy compared to yours. So, if you are a lower tier tank destroying a higher tier tank, you will get a slightly higher experience bonus than you would if you were a higher tier tank killing a lower tier tank. Again, this also does not award extra silver. There is also something called a close combat bonus. Damaging enemy tanks at under 200 meters range gives a very small bonus to XP, but it does not give a bonus to silver. So this is a pretty easy way for lots of heavy tanks and assault-style tank destroyers to rack up good experience, because they'll be right in close in the fight with their heavy armor and big guns and just racking up damage at close range, which is really nice. Next down on the list, when you complete a base capture, you get a flat bonus of the XP awarded. And extra silver is a flat extra amount paid to everyone who was in the capture circle at the moment of completed base capture, independent of the capturer's individual contributions. So essentially what that means is, for bonus XP, it's a simple flat bonus for capping the base. Doesn't matter how much you captured it, doesn't matter how many people were capturing it, whatever. It's a flat bonus to those who captured the base. For the bonus silver, it's a flat amount paid to everybody who is inside the capture circle right when the timer hits 0 and says enemy base captured. Doesn't matter how much, again, doesn't matter how much you capped, doesn't matter how long you were sitting in there, whatever. It is a flat bonus. Simple as that. So next down on the list is disabling an enemy vehicle. Now this is killing a complete enemy crew, and it's not something that really happens very often. I think I have witnessed it once, and I believe Wizard Ken has a video where he gets derped in a Japanese light tank. I forget what he gets derped by, but it kills all his crew and disables his tank. So the tank essentially dies. So what this does for a XP bonus is it gives you the same reward as inflicting damage for the remaining hit points. Essentially, however many hit points were left when all the crew members got knocked out, all those hit points get allocated as damage dealt to the tank that disabled all of the crew members. The silver bonus is also the same reward as inflicting damage for the remaining hit points. The same can be said for an ammo rack, as the damage dealt from an ammo rack, even if it's a full health tank, say 2,000 hit points, and if you shoot him once and ammo rack him, you are awarded the extra silver and experience as though you actually dealt 2,000 full points of damage. And it's the same thing when you destroy kill an entire tank's crew, as that tank is essentially dead. Now, damage done to targets you are spotting by team members who are not spotting them themselves. Sorry about that, I'm having trouble reading. So what this means is you are spotting the enemy, but you are not shooting them. There are other people shooting them. For the XP bonus, you get 50% of what the team member doing the damage would earn if he spotted the target himself, divided by the number of team members spotting the target. So if you are the only person spotting that target, you essentially get 50% of the XP earned by those dealing damage, as if they were spotting it. If there's 2 of you spotting a tank, and there's multiple other people shooting at it, that damage, the XP earned by that damage done, gets split between the 2 spotters. So it's essentially 50% of 50%. And the same goes with the silver bonus earned. 50% of what the team member doing the damage would earn if he spotted the target himself, divided by the number of team members spotting the target. So it's the exact same thing with the bonus experience being given out. If there's multiple people spotting a target, multiple people get a small XP and silver bonus, even though they're not even shooting and damaging the target. Now, when you win a game, aka victory, your XP is multiplied by a coefficient of 1.5, so you essentially get an extra 50% silver. Now, the joining a battle reward is multiplied by 1.85 for silver. There is no bonus to other rewards earned during the battle. So what this means is when you win the game, your XP earned by the end of the match is multiplied by 1.5. And your silver is the silver you got when you joined the battle, the initial flat bonus given when you joined the battle, depending on your tier, that gets multiplied by 1.85. So basically it gets multiplied by 85%. That's when you win a game. Courageous Resistance, Battle Hero, Epic, or Platoon achievements on a loss. Now this is a number of different things. It could be a crucial contribution for your platoon. It could be a Radley Walters for yourself. A number of different things. When your team is defeated, but you get one of the Battle Hero, Epic, or Platoon achievements, you will receive the same experience bonus as the victorious team, coefficient of 1.5. So essentially, if you get one of the Battle Hero, Epic, or Platoon achievements on a loss, it is as you are awarded bonus XP as though you did win the game. So it's not a complete loss. You could play an awesome game, still lose, and you still get a full possible XP and silver haul. And it's the same thing with the silver. When your team is defeated but you get one of the Battle Hero, Epic, or Platoon achievements, you will receive the same credit bonus as the victorious team. The joining a battle reward is multiplied by 1.85. So whether your team wins, or if you have an awesome game and get a Battle Hero or Platoon achievement on a loss, your XP earnings are multiplied by 1.5, and the flat silver bonus when you first join the game multiplied by 1.85. Now this is an important one to keep note. Team performance factor. Coefficient based, the bonus XP is a coefficient based on the total damage inflicted to the enemy team by your team. There is no silver bonus given for this. So what this means is the more damage that your team inflicts on the enemy team, the more XP the whole team gets. This is huge, and this is why people get upset when people fast cap or pointlessly cap the base out when they have an overwhelming advantage. Because every point of damage helps with earning more XP, and earning more XP always helps those that are grinding towards their next tank. So, unless it's absolutely necessary to squeeze a win out by grabbing the cap, it's always better to destroy all the enemy tanks, going for the maximum damage you can deal as possible, thus earning your whole team the maximum amount of XP possible. If you recall, going back to capturing the base, the experience and silver bonuses for capturing the base are only given to those capturing the base. So you'll regularly hear it where people say, oh, I'm all about the team, and win, 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 and I'm all about the team winning, and yet they don't really go out of their way to take shots or deal damage for the enemy team, but when they get the chance, they'll capture the base. It's the complete opposite. That is actually being quite selfish. The team gets more XP, the more damage dealt. The singular player or couple of players who capture the base, they are getting the sole benefits of the base being captured. That's why a lot of people get really frustrated with pointless base captures. That includes myself as well, because I want everybody to have an awesome game. I want everybody on the team to earn as much XP as possible, and possibly even nab mastery badges, which is based on how much XP each individual player earns. And if each individual player gets a little bit more XP for the whole team doing a little bit more damage, then why not better those odds by destroying the entire other team? That's just my strong opinion. Agree to disagree or whatever. Totally up to you. But I did want to bring that to several people's attention. Now, moving on, if you survive the battle, you are also awarded a small flat XP bonus, but this is only on a victory. There is no extra XP allotted on a draw or a loss, and there's also no silver given out for that either. Now, obviously, on both a loss and a draw, there is no bonus XP and no bonus silver given out for either of those, which everybody understood at this point, I'm sure. Now, the tank-specific balancing factor. Excuse me. This is essentially... How do I explain this? This one's a little bit difficult to explain. Each tank-specific coefficient is assumed to be 1 for all tanks, but it is different for some tanks. Premium tanks, for example, have a higher coefficient for earning silver than regular tanks. That's why premium tanks are good at earning silver for those who have them. That one's a little too technical. I'm not going to bother explaining the rest of it. So an active premium account also multiplies your XP and your silver earnings by a coefficient of 1.5 on each of those. Your first daily victory with the vehicle, as we all know, multiplies the XP you earn in that victory by 2. You don't earn any extra silver for it, which is fine, because you can get a really good XP haul off of your times 2s. Now, if team damage is inflicted, the person inflicting that team damage actually suffers a small XP penalty, supposedly twice the amount of XP you would receive for causing the same amount of damage to the enemy. You also get a penalty to an amount of 4 times the repair costs required to fix the damage that was inflicted, limited by the total amount earned during battle. So essentially what this does is you lose the amount of XP that you would have gained if all that damage was done to an enemy, and you lose a significant amount of silver for damaging your team. It's part of the reason why, when team damage was on way back in the day, nobody really understood the reasoning behind it. And lastly, if you receive team damage, you don't suffer any XP loss, but half the repair costs required to fix the damage, or a quarter of the penalty paid by the players who caused the team damage, whichever is lower. So essentially, half of your repair costs are paid for, or basically free, or if the penalty paid by the player who caused the team damage gives you this, those will give you the silver bonuses. That's essentially what that means. And whichever one of those two values is lower, that's what pays off and gives you a quote-unquote silver bonus. That's essentially how that works out. So that chart is basically just a simple breakdown of how XP and silver bonuses are allotted to individual players and how you can earn them. So a couple important things to remember from this chart is that if you are a lower tier tank damaging a higher tier tank, or getting assisted damage on a higher tier tank, or knocking out modules on a higher tier tank, you are getting a bigger XP bonus than a higher tier tank would be doing the same thing to a lower tier tank. So essentially what that means is if you're either in the middle or the bottom tier of a game, you have really good potential to rake in a lot of XP and silver by doing damage or tracking or spotting higher tier tanks and essentially just ruining their day. The other thing to note here is the difference in team XP earned by damage dealt over a base capture. Like I said, when the base is captured, only those inside the capture circle, the moment it gets captured, get any XP or silver bonus whatsoever. However, if the entire enemy team is destroyed, your entire team gets a minor boost in experience for the total amount of damage that your team inflicted on the other team. So that's, like I said, that's why it tends to be better, unless it's in a borderline no-win situation and you have no other choice but to capture for the win. That is why it is always, always, always better to simply go out and destroy all the red tanks on the enemy team, because then all of your team gets an XP bonus. It's the more team mentality thing to do. If you're going for base captures, simply because you feel like it, or you're one of those guys who you get across to the other side of the map and you figure, well, I'm in the base and I didn't really do anything in the fight, so I might as well sit here and capture the base. Those are actually quite selfish things to do, and I strongly urge that you change that mentality. It's a lot more polite, it's a lot more team-oriented to simply go out, kill the rest of the Reds if you have the advantage. There are times to cap, there are times not to cap. It's very important to recognize the difference between the two. If your team is up 12-4, go kill the last couple tanks. Simple as that. Anyways, guys, I hope that brief little breakdown of how XP and silver are earned helps you understand what you can do to improve your silver earnings, as well as earning more XP as you grind up your lines for your newer tanks or your newer packages. Like I said, this tactics talk was long overdue. I do apologize for the wait, but as always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you again soon. You guys have a good night. This is Mobius Y signing off. We'll see you next time.